Let's talk about when the universe conspires to help you to achieve your goals. My name is Salisa, also known as the Beautifulme, and I wanted to bring you a story time of when the universe actually supported me in unexpected ways. If that sounds like something that interests you, stay tuned. So before we get into the story, let me just ask your help in a couple of things. First, if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and leave me a quick comment, because not only does it encourage and inspire me, but it also helps my video to be suggested where others can be inspired by the content as well. And if you're encouraged by the content that I'm putting out, then click the subscribe button down below. Also, you can click the bell next to the subscription button, and that will notify you every time I put out a new video. All right, now that we have all that housekeeping in order, let's move on to the story. Get yourself a cup of coffee and get comfortable. So this morning when I woke up, I was thinking about the book, The Alchemist. And it's a great read. If you haven't read it, I read it in like 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. It's a very short book and a very quick read, and there's a lot of very spiritual nuggets to get out of the book, as I would call them. But in that book, there was a specific quote that inspired me, and I've used that quote throughout my life to remember that the universe is conspiring to help me to achieve all my goals. And the quote says, "And when you want something, the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it." So you will see that quote threaded throughout this particular story. So it all began when I actually was applying to get into nursing school. Now I had 2 part-time jobs, one at a payroll processing company that paid fairly well, and they worked around my school schedule. And then I also had another part-time job with the airlines. Around January of the year that I wanted to get into the program, we began to petition and apply for the nursing program. So you have to take a set of tests, you have to have an interview, and your GPA has to be strong. Nursing is a very competitive field to get into in college. I'm not sure why, but I guess because you're hoping to take care of lives. Nevertheless, I had a good GPA. It wasn't the best, like a 4.0, but it was a 3 point something, as well as I had excellent test scores, which were above the rest, I would say. And my interview skills, I felt like, were strong. I was in a class, which was a pathophysiology class that we had to take the semester before getting into the program. And most of the people who were in this pathophysiology class were also nursing students applying for the program. So as the semester went on, we began to discuss our GPAs, we began to discuss our test scores, just so that we had a feel of kind of what the others were doing in the class and to kind of gauge who would get accepted and who wouldn't. Okay? Well, it came time that we applied for the program and we started to receive our letters of acceptance. And in the class, everybody was celebrating with each other because they had got accepted, and I got a letter stating that I was on the waiting list. There was a student in the class, her name was Kim, and she actually had been accepted into the program. And I remember when we had discussed our GPAs and our test scores, my GPA was about in line with hers, but I believe my test scores were a little bit higher. And she also played on the soccer team for the school, so I thought maybe that boosted her interview up quite a bit. Anyway, I began to make reasons why I should have the space that she had and became envious of her specifically, and really kind of a bit angry towards her being accepted when I knew that my scores were higher and our GPAs were even. So remember that point for later in the story. Are you talking about discouraged? Are you talking about dreams shattered? I began to question, was I making the right decision? Was I going down the right path? Was this the career choice for me? Because I was placed on the waiting list. And truth be told, some people apply 2 to 3 times before they ever get accepted into a nursing program. But I felt like I had prepared myself to be accepted on the first time. And that's the goal that I had set for myself. And that's the expectation that I had. I pushed really hard throughout my first 2 years in order to get to this point to be accepted. So you can only imagine, the sense of failure that I had within. Fast forward, my sister, who knew that I was really discouraged, suggested that we go out of town for the weekend. Come on, girl, let's just get out of town and, go to a beach and kind of get away from everything for a little while to make ourselves feel better. And so she knew how important, my whole family knew how important this program entrance was to me. So we went to Clearwater, Florida, which still has a special place in my heart. I love the beaches there, and it's just a beautiful place. When we got there, I decided I would go onto the beach to clear my mind. And as I was standing out there, something inspired me to imagine myself putting the problems of the nursing program into a bottle, an imaginary bottle, and putting it into the ocean and letting it sail out to sea so that I could enjoy the rest of the weekend with my family. And that's just what I did. I started to imagine that the problem was there in the wave and it was being taken out to the ocean and I could release it, And instantly I began to feel better. My weekend, I never forget, we had such a good weekend. We just hung out at the pool, went to the beach, did some activities, ate great food, and just really had a good time healing with my family through the pain of not getting accepted into the program. While I was on that trip, my job, which is the payroll processing company, the manager gave me a call. And they knew also that I was applying for the program and was expecting me to put in a letter of resignation. I mean, it was already explained that if I got into the program, I would have to resign from this particular payroll job. And so she called me while I was on the beach to ask me if I found out if I was accepted or not. And I was like, I never told her that I got put on the waiting list. So I told her I was on the wait list, and she said, what does that mean about you working here? And I had to explain to her that I didn't know if I would get accepted or not. I had to wait until August to find out. Well, she revealed to me that the portion of the company that I worked in, they were actually going to dissolve that team. And so I would be laid off in the beginning of the fiscal year, which was June, if I didn't get accepted and resign before then. And I thought, okay, my goals were to get into the nursing program, so I told her I would keep her posted. That's the best that I could do. When I returned from Florida and I went to my pathophysiology class, I saw Kim. And I walked up to her and I apologized to her for the feelings that I had within. She had no knowledge of them, but I felt like I needed to apologize for being envious of her, for, being angry with her when she did nothing wrong. And so I walked up to her and told her that, I got put on the wait list because everybody was asking about everyone's status, I told her I got put on the wait list, and I told her that, on Friday I was really upset with her and it wasn't her fault. And I wanted to tell her that I was sorry. And that I thought at one point I was in a competition with her. And I realized there is no competition amongst us, that we really are just one. And there's a place for me and I will find it when it's my time. She explained to me that she actually had a diagnosis of brain cancer. I know, right? Here I am upset with someone who has pushed through a huge ordeal in their life. I had no knowledge. She told me that she had brain cancer, that she was in remission, and that she had to battle with her physician to allow her to even be on the soccer team for the school. And maybe in her interview, her resilience fighting for her goals is what pushed her over the edge to get accepted. That was a huge lesson for me, because I realized sometimes we don't know the backstory. Sometimes we don't know, what reasons things are being aligned the way they are. So I apologized to her nonetheless and moved on. That was around April. Fast forward to June, and it came time for me to be laid off work. Well, it was the end of May. And they were dissolving my part of the company that I worked in. And they didn't have any other part-time positions to offer me that could work around my school schedule. And so the manager let me know that she would have to give me a letter to basically terminate my employment at the end of May. That same week, the school called me. Now, I'm not used to a college calling people, but the Department of Nursing actually called me and said, hey, we just want to know if you received our letter that says that you're accepted into the nursing program. And I thought, no, I haven't. And they wanted to know if I accepted the offer to start in the fall. And I absolutely accepted the offer. That was what I wanted the whole time. So yes, I accepted. And they said they mailed me the letter about 3 to 4 weeks before. So that really was about in the end of April that I got an acceptance letter. I had it in my mailbox. I lived in an apartment complex. I would only check my mail on the other side of the apartment complex about every 3 weeks or so. So it was sitting in that mailbox that whole time, a letter stating that I was already accepted. Anyway, I got the letter from my manager that said that I would be terminated. And a friend of mine told me, you might be able to get unemployment. And I thought, really? But I have a part-time job at an airline. I'm not really unemployed. And she said, but the money you were making at the payroll company is quite a bit more than you're making at the airline. Talk to the unemployment office. And so after I was let go, and I already had my acceptance letter into school, I went to the unemployment office. And when I got there, they let me know that because my wages were so high at this part-time job, that I actually qualified for the full benefit. And because they let me go, I would be getting the full payment of $330 a week. And when I advised them that I already had a part-time job still at the airline, they told me that the way they handle that is the first $50 I'm able to keep from the airline. And anything for the week they deduct that I've earned from the airline, they deduct that from my $330 for the week. So basically, I would be able to keep $380 a week all throughout my nursing program, with only working minimal at the airline job, which provided me my health benefits and my free flight privileges. So see, had I never been put on the wait list, I never would have been laid off, and I never would have received those payments going through school. And basically, my unemployment benefits lasted for 2 years, the whole term of while I was in school. I think I graduated in May. My benefits were over in June. So sometimes things aren't working out the way that we believe they should work out, but they're working out for our good. And I don't want to say be patient, because patience sounds like you're waiting for something to happen. Just understand that the universe is working behind the scenes already on your behalf, and you are only waiting for it to be revealed to you. I've never questioned the support of the universe for something that I've wanted beyond that point. I now realize, just like it says in The Alchemist, when you want something, the whole universe conspires to help you to achieve it. And sometimes it just comes in ways unbeknownst to you. That's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. And like I said, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Take care.